Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In the last lecture of chapter 4, Laws of Motion, we have studied about couple and its torque as well as mechanical equilibrium. Now, let's proceed the chapter. The next topic we have center of mass. As we had discussed, Newton's laws are strictly applicable to particle or point mass or a system of particles. And when we study motion of an extended body by using Newton's laws, the question arises as at what point of the body the force is actually applied and acceleration of which point is being considered. Now, in our real life, we come across finite objects, objects of the measurable size. Hence, the concept of the center of mass helps us to considering these objects to be point objects at a particular location, thereby allowing us to apply Newton's laws of motion. And hence it is found that there is one point of the body whose motion is exactly same as a point particle having mass of the body and experiencing the same force, which is said to be a center of mass. For example, consider a sphere rolling along a smooth horizontal surface. Or we can consider a coin which is to be rolling along a smooth horizontal surface, and this sphere or a coin has both translational and rotational motion, as different particles of the sphere or coin moves in circular motion as well as the translational motion. You can see a straight line when a coin is rolling on a smooth surface. At the center you find there is a straight line formed there. Simultaneously, all the particles of the coin performing the circular motion, and hence all the particles are also performing the translational motion. But there is only one point. If you observe, so you will find that there is one point which is nothing but the center of the sphere or the center of the coin there, which has only translational motion along a straight line, as all other particles are performing rotational motion and translational motion, but there is a one point at which the particle performing only translational motion along the straight line. So, the entire mass of the sphere or the entire mass of that coin can be considered to be situated at its center. Any external force acting on the sphere or the coin will produce an acceleration for this point as per the Newton's law. Thus, the center of the sphere or the center of the coin is its center of mass. So, here we can define center of mass of a body as that point at which the whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated in order to study motion of the body in accordance with Newton's laws of motion. Thus, using the concept of center of mass, we assume that a body is replaced by a single particle having mass equal to that of the body situated at the center of mass of the body. And the motion of the center of mass represents the translational motion of the body there. Now, let us have the mathematical understanding of center of mass. Here we are considering a system of n particles of masses m1, m2 till mn, and hence the summation of mi, where the value of I from 1 to n is equal to capital M, which is the total mass of the system. And also we are considering vector r1, vector r2 till vector rn be the respective position vector from a given origin O, as it is shown in this figure. The origin O over here, and hence for example mass m1 is situated here in x1, y1 and z1 coordinate. So vector r1 represents the position vector of the mass m1. That means with respect to the origin, the position of the mass m1 is to be represented by position vector r1 there. Similarly, the mass m2, which is situated in the coordinate x2, y2 and z2 there. So vector r2 represent the position vector of the mass m2. That means with respect to the origin, the position of m2 would be represented by the vector r2 there. And hence all the masses are situated in this coordinate system, and the position vector will describe the position of those masses. And hence here we can say that mn is the mass of n particle, and hence the Rn represent the position vector of this mass mn in xn, yn and zn coordinate. Now, the position vector r of their center of mass from the same origin is given mathematically by this formula. Vector r represents the position vector of the center of mass from the same origin, and mathematically it is the ratio of summation of product of mass and the position vector divided by total mass of the system. So, the position vector r of their center of mass from the same origin is given as summation of mi ri vector, where the value of I from 1 to n, and is divided by summation of mi, where the value of I is from 1 to n. If for example the system consisting of two particles, so position vector r is to be written as m1 r1 plus m2 r2 divided by m1 plus m2. Here the value of I will be there from 1 to 2. If the system consisting of three particles, so value of n would be taken as 3, and hence the formula would be written as m1 r1 plus m2 r2 plus m3 r3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So, the mathematical form to write the position vector of the center of mass from the same origin as summation of mi ri vector, where the value of I from 1 to n is divided by capital M, where this capital M denotes the total mass of the system there. Now, if the origin itself is at the center of mass, that means the position vector value would be 0, then the summation mi ri vector would be 0 there, and hence the summation mi ri vector gives the moment of masses similar to that of the moment of force about the center of mass. Thus, center of mass is a point about which the summation of moments of masses in the system is 0 there. Now, if x1, x2 till xn are the respective x coordinates of r1, r2 till rn, the x coordinate of the center of mass is given as x is equal to summation of mi xi, with the value of I from 1 to n divided by summation of mi, where the value of I is there from 1 to n. Hence the summation of mi is equal to capital M, which is the total mass of the system. Hence the center of mass is to be given over here for the x coordinate as summation of mi xi from value of I from 1 to n divided by capital M. Similarly, y and z coordinates of the center of mass is to be given as y is equal to summation of mi yi with the value of I from 1 to n divided by summation of mi where value of I from 1 to n, and the value of summation of mi is to be taken as capital M. Hence, the center of mass for the y coordinate is to be given as y is equal to summation of mi yi with the value of I from 1 to n divided by capital M, and hence for the z, the center of mass for the z coordinate is given as z is equal to summation of mi zi where value of I from 1 to n divided by summation of mi where the value of I from 1 to n, and hence the value of summation of mi is given as capital M. And finally, the center of mass for the z coordinates we are writing as summation mi zi where the value of I from 1 to n is divided by capital M. So, this we had discussed about the system of n particles. Now, let us see regarding the continuous mass distribution. For the continuous mass distribution with uniform density, here we need to use integration instead of summation. For the continuous mass distribution, we are supposed to use the integration over here, and in this case, the position vector of the center of mass now given as vector r is equal to integration vector r dm upon integration dm, where integration dm represents the total mass of the system, which is to be represented as m. As the position vector is defined as the summation of product of position vector and its respective mass divided by total mass of the system. Hence, here we are writing the position vector r is equal to integration of vector r into dm, where dm represents the smaller mass of the object for the respective position vector, and hence integration vector r dm is divided by integration dm, where integration dm is equal to capital M, which is the total mass of the object. And hence by using this we can write the Cartesian coordinate of the center of mass S for the x coordinate. Here we are supposed to write it as the integration of x dm upon integration dm, where the value of integration dm is capital M. Hence, center of mass of the x coordinate is to be written as integration x dm divided by capital M. Center of mass for the y coordinates we are supposed to write as integration y dm upon integration dm, as integration dm is capital M, total mass of the system. Hence, the center of mass of the y coordinate we are writing as integration y dm upon capital M. And also for the z coordinate, the center of mass would be z is equal to integration z dm upon integration dm, where again we are using the value of integration dm as capital M, which is the total mass of the object, and hence the center of mass of the z coordinate would be integration z dm upon capital M. Now, by using the expressions which is given over here, the centers of mass of the uniform symmetric objects can be obtained. Now, let us see coordinate of the center of mass for some symmetrical objects. The system of 2 point masses when we are considering mass m1 and mass m2. Here In this system, 2-point masses is taken. Hence, the center of mass divides the distance in inverse proportion of their masses. The distance between mass m1 and m2 is d. Hence, the center of mass is divided by means of this point, and over here the distance from the mass m1 till this point is given as x1, and the distance of mass m2 from this point, that is the center of mass, is given as x2. Now, if you are considering any geometrically symmetric object of uniform density, then the center of mass at a geometrical center of the object. For example, for the disk, the center of mass would be there at the center of the disk. For the ring also, center of mass of the ring is situated at its center. For the solid or hollow sphere, center of the sphere would be given as a center of mass, and for a rod, the midpoint of the rod we can consider as a center of mass of the rod there. And for the rectangular lamina, the point of intersection of its diagonals would be given center of mass. So, for any geometrically symmetric object of uniform density, the center of mass at a geometrical center of the object. Now, for the isosceles triangular plate, over here it is the isosceles triangular, and hence the center of mass would be lie at this point given as C. So, here we are considering the x and y coordinate, and this point C, which represents the center of mass, for this point the x coordinate would be given as 0 and y coordinate would be given as h upon 3, where h is the height of this isosceles triangle. For the right angle triangular plate, the center of mass would lie at this point C, and by using the x and y coordinate, over here the x coordinate of the center of mass is given as p upon 3, where p represents the base of this right angle triangle, and yc will be given the coordinate of the center of mass about its y axis, which is q upon 3, where q is given as the, which represents the y axis there, or it represents the another side of the right angle triangular plate. Now, for the thin semicircular ring of radius r, over here the radius is given as r for this thin semicircular ring. So, the center of mass is given at this point C, and hence the x coordinate for the center of mass is given as 0, and y coordinate of the center of mass yc is equal to 2r upon pi. For the thin semicircular disc of radius r, here the center of mass is given at a point C, and hence the x coordinate for the center of mass is 0 and y coordinate of the center of mass is given as 4r upon 3 pi. For the hemispherical shell of radius r, the center of mass is to be given over here in terms of x coordinate of the center of mass is given as 0 and y coordinate of the center of mass yc is given as r upon 2. For the solid hemisphere of radius r, the center of mass is situated at a point C, and hence the x coordinate of the center of mass is 0 there, and y coordinate of the center of mass is 3r upon 8. For hollow right circular cone of height h, the center of mass is situated at a point C, where x coordinate of the center of mass is 0 and y coordinate of the center of mass yc is given as h upon 3. And for the solid right circular cone of height h, the center of mass is there at a point C, and hence the x coordinate of the center of mass is given as 0 and y coordinate of the center of mass is given as h upon 4. So this we had seen the mathematical understanding of center of mass. Now let's see velocity of center of mass. If we are considering v1, v2 till vn be the velocities of a system of point masses m1, m2 till mn respectively. So the velocity of center of mass of the system is given by using the formula summation of product of mass and its corresponding velocity, which is divided by total mass of the system. So the velocity of the center of mass here we are writing as v vector v cm is equal to summation mi vi vector, where value of I from 1 to n, divided by summation of mi, where value of I from 1 to n. As summation mi is nothing but the total mass of the system, which is to be represented as capital M. Hence the velocity of center of mass is given as summation mi vi vector from 1 to n divided by capital M. Now this summation mi vi vector is nothing but the resultant linear momentum of the system, which is divided by total mass of the system. And hence this ratio resultant linear momentum upon total mass weighted a average of momenta. Now x, y and z components of velocity v can be obtained similarly in the same manner, and for the continuous distribution over here the velocity of the center of mass of the system is to be given as integration v dm upon total mass of the system, that is capital M. Now next let us see acceleration of the center of mass. Here we are considering a1, a2 till an with the accelerations of the system of point masses m1, m2 till mn respectively. Then the acceleration of the center of mass of the system is given as vector acm is equal to summation of mi ai vector, where value of I from 1 to n is divided by summation of mi, where value of I from 1 to n. And this summation mi is nothing but the total mass of the system, which is given as capital M, and hence the center of mass for the acceleration over here is given as summation mi vector ai, value of I from 1 to n is divided by capital M. Now this summation mi vector ai is nothing but the resultant force, and capital M is the total mass of the system. So the ratio we are getting for the acceleration of the center of mass of the system as resultant force upon total mass, which weighted average of the force there. And x, y and z components of acceleration can be obtained similarly by using the same method. And for the continuous distribution, the acceleration of center of mass of the system is given as vector a cm is equal to integration vector a dm upon capital M, which is the total mass of the system. So by using this formula integration vector a dm upon capital M, we can determine the acceleration of the center of mass of the system having the continuous distribution of masses there. Now, let's have the next and the last topic of the chapter laws of motion, that is center of gravity. As the weight of a body is the force of gravitational attraction on the body exerted by the earth. Now consider a body of mass capital M composed of large number of particles of masses m1, m2, m3 till mn. As each particle is separately acted upon by the gravitational force of attraction directed towards the center of earth. All these points being at different distances from the center of earth, they experience different gravitational force. And the resultant of these like parallel forces gives the total weight W, which we are considering as capital M into G. As the weight of the mass M1 is to be taken as M1 into G, the weight of the mass M2 is to be taken as M2 into G, the mass of M3 is to be taken as M3 into G. Similarly, for the mass Mn, the weight is acting in the downward direction as Mn into G. So, the total weight we can write, it is equal to M1G plus M2G plus M3G till plus Mng. As over here, G is nothing but the acceleration due to gravity, which is same for all the particles M1, M2 till Mn. And hence, this G we are taken out common, and that's why in bracket the terms will remain as M1 plus M2 plus M3 till plus Mn, which is nothing but the capital M total mass of the system. And the resultant of these like parallel forces, which gives the total weight W of the body as capital M into G. And hence, we can say that G is the acceleration due to gravity at a point where a point object with mass capital M will produce the same gravitational force as experienced by this extended object. And this point is called the center of gravity of the extended object. So, we can define the center of gravity is a fixed point through which the whole weight of the body always acts vertically downwards, whatever may be the position of the body. There is a fixed point through which the total weight of the body always acts in the vertically downward direction. Whatever will be the position of the body, that fixed point is called as center of gravity. Now, if the size of body is small as compared to the size of the earth, the center of mass of the body coincides with center of gravity. As center of mass is nothing but a point at which the whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated, in order to study the motion of the body in accordance with the Newton's laws of motion, and center of gravity is a fixed point through which the total weight of the body is always acting in the vertically downward direction, whatever may be the position of the body. And if the size of the body is small as compared to the size of the earth, so in this case the center of mass of the body and center of gravity will be at the same point. Now, in case of the bodies of uniform densities and symmetrical shape, the center of gravity is at their point of symmetry. As we had discussed, for the center of mass, the center of mass of some bodies of uniform density and of regular or symmetric shape, we had seen, like for the disk and ring, the center of mass would be there at the center. For the rod, the midpoint of the rod will be considered as the center of mass there. So, for such bodies, the center of gravity is at their point of symmetry, and the center of gravity of disk and sphere are there at their centers. The center of gravity may not lie on the body. For example, for a circular ring, it is at the geometrical center. For bodies of small in size, the center of gravity coincides with the center of mass. But for very large bodies like mountains, the acceleration due to gravity is not the same for all the particles. In fact, it is greater for particles near the center of Earth. Hence, for such bodies, center of gravity is slightly below center of mass. So, we can say that the center of gravity of a body is the point around which the resultant torque due to force of gravity on the body is 0. Analogous to center of mass, it is the weighted average of the gravitational forces, that is the weight on individual particles. For uniform gravitational field, that means if you are considering small g is constant, the center of gravity always coincides with center of mass as we had discussed, and hence it is true for all the objects on the earth in our daily life. Thus, in common usage, the terms center of gravity and center of mass are used for the same purpose. This property can be used to determine the center of gravity or center of mass of a laminar, like a leaf or two-dimensional object. Now, let us consider a laminar object is suspended from a rigid support at two orientation. Lines are to be drawn on the object parallel to the plumb line shown. As over here, you can see this plumb line is always vertical, that is parallel to the line of action of gravitational force. Interaction of the lines drawn is then the point through which the line of action of the gravitational forces passes for any orientation. Thus, it gives the location of the center of gravity or center of mass. So, over here in this position, for this particle, the weight of this particle is acting in the downward direction, vertically downward direction. So, we are supposed to draw one line there. When the rotation is to be takes place, we are considering the another point. So, by means of this line, this point having its mass is weighted in the vertically downward direction. So, by means of this point, we are drawing one line, and finally, we are getting one intersection point. This intersection point that we are obtaining is said to be a position of center of gravity, where the total weight of this object is acting in a vertically downward direction, whatever will be the position of this object there. So, in this way also, the center of gravity of a body of an irregular shape can be determined. The center of mass is a fixed property for a given rigid body in spite of any orientation. The center of gravity may depend upon non-uniformity on the gravitational field, in turn will depend on the orientation there. For objects on the earth, this will be possible only if the size of an object is comparable to the size of the earth. That is, the size must be at least few thousand kilometers. In such cases, the center of gravity will be slightly lower than the center of mass, as on the lower side of an object, the gravitational field is stronger. So here we can say that if the size of the body is small as compared to that of the size of the earth, the center of mass and center of gravity of the body coincides. But for very large bodies, the acceleration due to gravity is not same for all the particles. In fact, it is greater for particles near the center of the earth there, and hence for such bodies center of gravity and center of mass would not lie at the same point. The center of gravity is slightly below the center of mass. So here we have discussed center of mass of the body, which is defined as a point at which the total mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated. In order to study the motion of the body in accordance with the Newton's laws of motion, as well as we had studied the center of gravity, which is a fixed point through which the whole weight of the body always acts vertically downwards, whatever may be the position of the body. So here the chapter for laws of motion is over. Thank you.